I'm Dan.
It didn't have to be like that.
It didn't have to be like
And I'm Keith.
And we're talking about Everything Sucks, episode 10. We were merely freshmen. The finale.
Do you remember the days when we were merely freshmen?
They were not good days, I can say that much. And they were not as eventful as these youngins.
Uh-huh. You didn't steal a school bus and drive it to Hollywood?
Can't say that I did, but God, do I wish I had.
You're just like, Ken.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, I am. Let's do it. I'll be with the follow-up. I was trying to figure out what do we do after these reacts are over. We go
and just do those things.
Do all the things. We TP. We're gonna steal school bus, which would be really not a good thing to do. All right, what did you think of the finale?
The finale, I think, was good. Not as good as the 9th episode. It's a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
I think it fell a little bit into some cliches that it avoided in other places.
Yeah.
And not to jump too far ahead, but like the fact that they did do the dad coming back at the very last scene, like I kind of predicted, but I hoped it wouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they had the moment where he got to the door at the end there, and I was like, maybe they'll like totally subvert things. He'll hear them as a happy family and just leave. But he didn't. No. But I mean, either way, I still think it was a good episode. It was a good episode for Luke. He came around. He had his redemptive moment through film, which obviously we should have known that was obviously going to happen.
Just like the beginning, it all comes full circle.
Yeah. One thing that I wish had happened is I kind of do wish that he fully knew about Emmeline and Kate being a thing before this moment happened, because I feel like it's so easy for things to backpedal as soon as he finds that out. Like it's one thing for him to say in his head, like, so like it's like the idea versus the reality, right? When it's the idea of, okay, he's a lesbian, we're not going to end up together. But then when he's like actually seeing her dating someone and he chose that mean person over me, like it's so easy for things to go backwards that I kind of wish he had all the information before he had his redemptive moment. But I mean, you also have to leave things open for next season.
And that's what I was thinking too. It's because if this was a standalone, there were a couple things I would do differently, and that is one of them. Yeah. But because it looks like they're opening it up for season 2, it actually makes sense that they did that. Yeah. Because you want that. I mean, it can't be happy-go-lucky forever in season 2. They need a little bit of something to impact. Yeah,
and there's things like, I mean, I don't think you would have ended Tyler's entire story with him going off and being the new Oliver if that was going to be the end of the show, or... there's definitely still things to come. And then obviously the biggest thing is Kate coming out both to her family and to the school. And they almost get there, but don't, which obviously leaves you wanting more. Which I thought that was a good moment. Yeah. And
very strong series. Yeah. Very strong.
Yeah. Let's talk about the movie. So we got to see a good chunk of the movie. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I think it could have been more funny than it was, but I still enjoyed it. And I like that it was a good mix of like, you could believe they filmed this. And so like, in some ways it's like impressive that they were able to do all this, but in other ways it's really bad.
And that probably won't hit home with you, but like, it's a very anime thing to do, to have like the kids working on a movie. And then like the last episode or like part of like the end of an arc is to be like, the screening of that movie, and then you just watch the movie and it becomes a parallel to like what's happened.
Yeah. No, that happens in a lot of TV shows too, and I think it reminds me of like Super 8, and there's it's definitely a trope that I've seen. Yeah. But I think that it worked well. I was almost wondering, given how a big a deal Disaster Artist was in recent times, whether they were anyway taking stuff from that, because there was the whole thing of like, oh, they put all this effort in and to make things like cool and serious, and then everybody's laughing at it, and him sort of watching and reacting to people's reactions. It felt like there was a hint of the Disaster Artist in that, but I don't know if it's just... I mean,
that's a very different kind of tone as well, though.
Yeah. I loved, obviously, his sort of final discussion with Kate. I thought was really good. Him making amends there, and then I love the friendship kiss and the fact that he's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, they've come so long from strangers to fake couple to now, like, you would definitely call them actual friends.
Yeah, and leading into sibling. Yeah. So quite the high school experience.
Quite the high school experience.
I'll never forget my favorite thing, and I don't even know if you've ever seen this movie. Sky High?
Yeah.
So my favorite thing is the end of that movie is that they go, so in the end, my best friend became my girlfriend became my worst enemy, and my worst enemy became my best friend. But hey, that's high school.
That movie is so bad.
That movie's really bad, but I always remember that ending. Like, I thought that was funny. Yeah. So he had to go back and do all these last minute changes.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why he had to bring Scott Pocket in. I did think the intro was funny and has sort of a Hitchcock / like almost like Outer Limits / Twilight Zone opening thing there.
So that's a question that you asked before we hit record, and I told you to save it.
Yeah.
And so my answer to why did they bring Scott Pocket in, because obviously the intro was interesting, but had nothing to do with how they changed it.
Yeah.
And I would say the answer is the realization that it is not that you do it and you cut away your ties with friends and family. It's because of the friends and family. So he wanted
Scott Pocket to be involved.
Scott, because even though Scott's an asshole, he's saying like you, in some small way, are part of the community.
You're part of the AV club. Yeah. Okay.
And so like you're part of this team. Be a part of the team.
Okay. I like that. I like
gesture,
that. Yeah. It was interesting to me watching the video that I wasn't always clear. Because we didn't really know the plot of the movie before now, it was hard for me to tell which things were changes and which things... I mean, obviously, there were some that were very obviously changes.
Yeah.
But, like, what did Leslie do that changed things? I kind of missed that.
She was, like, the person holding the boom mic and things like that. So, like, because they had to what was the other kid's name?
Cedric.
Yeah.
She helped with Cedric.
She was basically, she was part of the crew that was like when they were filming. She wasn't in the movie or necessarily doing editing, but she was part of just being able to film.
Okay, that makes sense. Also, she's my secret favorite character. She came out of nowhere and just killed it. I love that actress.
Yeah. I mean, really again, funny. It's like the most small, like the characters you thought were like annoying or like weird, like they brought them all together and made them real characters.
Yeah. I will still say that for me, McQuaid is probably my least favorite character. But, and like Tyler, honestly, my liking of him is like a joke. So like, I think they definitely came around with like people like Leslie and people like Emmeline and even Oliver by having him actually leave. I feel like added something there. But to me, McQuaid and Tyler still have room to grow, but they definitely are better than where I was with them, which is I used to hate them and now I definitely don't.
I agree. And I think the biggest thing is we are missing one episode with them.
Yeah.
That's what it really comes down to. They turned for the better towards the end. Mm-hmm. We just haven't had enough time. Yeah. If we had one more episode of sort of McQuaid sort of like dealing with the whole thing. Yeah. But of course they're saving things for season 2. So
well, I mean, I think the thing is kind of a bummer. I mean, and it ties into the whole Tyler's whole issue, right? That he was losing his friends, is that we really didn't get a good episode about the three of them as being friends.
To get the tragedy of that.
Yeah, like, I mean, the closest we had was when Kate...
The weird snack.
Yeah, the weird snack thing when Kate came. But the majority of it was, like, we very rarely had them as a unit for an extended episode without Kate, without the other girl, you know, like... Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where McQuaid goes from there. I definitely like that, like, he's, like, accidental ladies' man, doesn't understand it.
At least for that moment, but yeah.
And Sherry and Ken the Dweeb. Very nice.
Great.
Any other... Opinions? Well, we didn't really talk about Emmeline and the kiss.
Yeah. So I wish that Emmeline and Kate had a little bit more of a theatrical moment for the kiss. At the same time, it's nice that it's a little understated, even though there was still sort of like, here, come here and go on the stage.
Yeah.
But even despite that, it was pretty believable.
Yeah, I think so. I like them because I think that their chemistry is good, the actresses are good, and their writing is good. And I liked the ring pop thing. I thought that was cute. Yeah. And I do think that the actual scene where they kissed could have been handled better. Like, I think
do you think it was bad, or do you think it was room for improvement?
I think it was room for improvement. I don't think it was at the highs of some of the other great moments on the show, is what I would say. And I think that part of that is how much cinematography and how cinematic the show is, that felt kind of just like a scene. You know, like, it didn't stand out to me visually. Like,
probably because it's on a dark stage, you get like have that kind of frontal.
Yeah. Even think about like the kiss with Luke and Kate and how like memorable that is. Now, obviously, this like character-wise, and you know, even some like I would say like representationally, societally wise in real world, it's a big deal, obviously. But I don't feel like the stage doesn't really mean anything to Kate. It doesn't really like connect them in a way. So I'm almost like, would it have made more sense if they... I don't know. Like,
now that you're saying it, I agree. And actually, what I wish they had done, now that I'm thinking it more, is for them to go in the stairwell.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that becomes like the closed off space, like just like you had with the 7 Minutes in Heaven scene, the closet and the neon paint and the dark light.
Yeah,
you need to have kind of a more closeted space to kind of get that.
Well,
closeness.
even I mean, think about if they had actually kissed in the hotel room, the cinematography of the extreme close-ups on them and stuff, and the lighting and everything, like that would have been a much more memorable scene. Like and in general, that scene is more memorable than this scene is.
Yeah,
even without the kiss.
And I wonder if it's on purpose or just happenstance, but like the fact that they kind of like it's after the movie and they went to the stage and they were dancing and kissed on the stage. Yeah. That's kind of a 90s show thing. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe that's why, but
yeah, that's just I mean, I don't know what the song. Do you know what the song was that they were dancing?
Sounds familiar, but I don't know.
So maybe that's more poignant. And I also wonder, like, is there something poignant about them being on the stage that it's somewhat public, but it also wasn't public. But like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you wanted to like really draw poetry, it's the fact that Emmeline felt that she was always putting on a front. It was always on the stage. Yeah. But now you have it, and it's just them. So she's on stage for no one but themselves, and the lights are off. So it's like she's putting that to bed.
Which I think
could be true.
Which I mean, no, sure, and I think that for Emmeline that makes a lot of sense. I just don't. Kate's our character, right? Kate's our point of view. And I don't think that has as much meaning for her. So I don't know.
Right.
But again, still a great moment, still a great couple that I'm excited to see more out of and see it like actually become a thing because all we've really seen is like the beginnings.
Yeah. And speaking of, I don't think we mentioned this yet in the video, the dichotomy of the fact that Emmeline was much more femme and then it was Kate that was the tomboy, and then now Kate's wearing the gown, and then Emmeline's wearing more like tomboyish clothing. So it's like they're balancing each other out and bringing out different sides of themselves.
That they were sort of inspired by each other. Definitely interesting wardrobe thing there for sure. I think they put so much into the characters in every aspect with the music and with the settings and with the costuming, and I think they did a really good job. Which leads us into how do you feel about the show as a whole? Season 1, I don't know if you want to rate it.
Before we do that, I just want to bring in the theme of interruption.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you just interrupted me, so there you go.
Yeah. So we're keeping it up. So there's an overarching theme of interruption in the show. Like every important moment, whether it's like romantic, sexual, or like just poignant, or even if it's about like things are going good, there's always like some kind of thing. So like when things are going good, here comes something bad. When things are getting intimate, here comes something I'm intruding. Yeah. And so
they happened like 3 times this episode. There was
I'm sure it's more than that if you actually went through
it. Well, there was Ken and Sherry, and then the Star Groove comes in with the lights. I think it's whatever it is, Groove, Storm Groove, and he comes in with the light. Then we have Kate's almost going to tell her dad, and then the others come in. There were a few other moments like that too, but and then the fact that they were going to kiss in the stairwell, or they were going to say something. No, she was going to mention that they were going to kiss, and then some guy walks by.
So interesting theme, I mean, to have, because I mean, it's not like a unique one, but it's like one that they really like played close to their heart on that one.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, that's the thing is, I feel like when they do it like this, it changes from being, they're doing the trope to, this is a stylistic choice. Yeah. If you do it enough times, then it's not like you're just doing it. It's like you're doing it for a reason.
So now.
Yes.
Overall thoughts.
Now that you interrupted my poignant moment of rating the show, I think it's a really solid show. I'm almost like personally, I know we talked about why maybe 3 and like honestly 2 through 4 were lower quality than some of the other ones. And to me, I get it, but I'm also kind of bummed because it makes it harder for me to be like, I'm going to recommend the show because I think it's awesome. Because I feel like you kind of have to get to episode 5 for me to like actually be able to stand behind it being awesome. But I'd say 5 through 10 are awesome.
Episode 1 is pretty strong too. I would say episode 1 is strong. Yeah. 2 to 4 are like, they're not bad. They're just not like spectacular. Yeah. But like 5 to 10, it's like it just grabs you and you go. Yeah. There's like, I mean, you can pick apart little flaws here and there, but like overall, it's phenomenal. Yeah. It's a phenomenal show. Yeah. There are a lot of great moments.
Yeah. I would give it a 9.
I think about 9 as well for me.
At least I'd definitely give a 9 for 5 to 10, and then maybe 1 to 5 I'd give like a 7.
7.5.
Yeah, 7.5. Yeah.
And I think that especially a coming of age story, youngish looking kids, they've done such a good job here.
Yeah.
It's like a hard thing to do when you're creating these characters to make them feel real, to play out these jokes about different tropes, but not get too deep in them, to keep it fresh. I mean, it's such an overtold story.
Yeah.
The fact that you can do it unique, do it well, and handle difficult topics without getting too bogged down. Because, I mean, think of all the things they talked about and, like, even showed but didn't talk about, right? Yeah. So you've got gay characters. You're talking about suicide.
Yeah.
You have an interracial couple.
Yeah.
You've got
you have multiple interracial couples.
Yeah. So you've got people, you know, pulling different like reasons for their own, like just growing up and being selfish about this, about that. You know, there's all these
drugs,
pull and
alcohol,
take, like consequences of like doing things that are just bad.
Yeah.
And then not doing enough bad things. I mean, it doesn't get too labeled by anything. Like to call this like about any one of those things would be foolish.
Yeah.
To say that it's about that, to say that it's about anything else than about growing up would be foolish. I think that's a great thing that they have.
Well, I mean, I feel like if I was gonna sum up what the general gist of the season is I would say it's not all about you.
Yeah.
Which
I think is part of like what that means, like growing up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about these mature realizations, and it means something a little bit different for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said of like all these shows, or you could almost say any show, is about like finding out who you are. Right. But this is even more than part of finding out who you are is finding out that you're not the only thing that matters.
If we are taking that as sort of like the one, maybe what you can call a more moral of the show, it is interesting that that comes through the mouthpiece of his father, who is also the one that they negated his other kind of standing line, which was, you know, the true artist has to make sacrifices and just do it on their own.
Well, so you're saying the father as far as the villain versus the...
So because not only do you have the Luke's father, you know, give the whole Ghostbusters, you're the hero of your own story, not always everybody else's, and then also the I have to leave, do the whole Oliver parallel with that. So you have the same kind of like opposite thing.
Yeah, well, again, I mean, it's like he doesn't even realize he was smart enough to talk about that, but then he still did the thing he thought was heroic without realizing that he's the enemy to everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I guess leaves. I mean, they've done such a good job. I can only imagine that in season 2 they're going to humanize the father.
Oh yeah.
And then do that, and that becomes part of it.
Coming back a few steps, because you mentioned the interracial couple thing. And I did want to say that I think it's interesting. I mentioned to my mom how I thought it was really cool and great that you have this main character who's this black kid, and they never once mention his race. His race never comes up. And my mom's reaction was like, oh, that's cool, but is that realistic? To which I wonder what you feel about that. Because to me, I'm like, okay, maybe it isn't. I don't know this area, right? The area of Boring, Oregon, if there's a lot of black people, if it depends on, I mean, in the 90s, it depends on probably your region, how much of an issue it is. And is it like, there's the trouble of, oh, like it's nice to not make it all about race issues, but also are you erasing the troubles that come with the race issues if you don't make it, you know, if it's kind of a colorblind character in some ways that it doesn't even matter what his race is, are you erasing that experience?
So I would say, as important as it is usually to address that in a show like this, I think that it handles so many things that to throw that in would to make it overly complicated almost, especially for like this first season. Like they still have that to play with. And I just think that in this particular case, the way they handle it, I think it does more benefit than harm to do the way they did it.
I agree.
And that's just, I mean, you can have different opinions. That's my take. I just think they handled that so well that like they've talked about that, like about Boy Meets World, but the fact that they didn't mention it to normalize it. Yeah. So like the fact that it becomes normalized as opposed to discussed, I mean, neither one is right or wrong, but they're just different tactics, both with the same hope of providing something positive. Yeah, and I happen to like how this was done. Yeah, so. Me too. I think there's room to grow, and I am wondering, I feel like as great as it was that Emmeline evolved or whatever, season 2, no matter what, you're going to have new characters in season 2. That's just how it always goes. You're going to bring in new kids or whatever. You kind of need new bullies because, I mean, to a certain degree, if you think about it,
the struggle of Kate coming out, she needs something to struggle against, and you need her to not want the school to find out. And one of the biggest reasons that was in season 1 was because of Emmeline and how Emmeline turned everyone against her. So I am interested to see, and that could also play into the race stuff too, potentially.
And I don't know if you need specific bully characters, because I think with something as cultural as that, it becomes more about a force. The school as a public is a force.
Yeah.
So it's less about characters, bullies A through C have this to say in this scene, as opposed to there are things here and there. There's a general anxiety.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I just feel like yes, that's nice and poetic, and that's also the more of the reality, right? And that in real life it would be more that's coming from multiple sides, not that necessarily you have one person. But I do think for a story to work, you kind of need, you can't just have this antagonistic force. You need something to embody that antagonistic force. Not always, but that is definitely helpful. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I hope that we get season 2, and I hope we get it soon.
How soon?
I hope we get it tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments below what other shows you think we should tackle. Because obviously I feel like these reaction videos have done pretty well for us. We love doing them. This show was great for us. This is totally up our wheelhouse. Not always, it's hard to find shows that are good like that. So if you have shows you want us to talk about, whether it be reaction videos, retrospectives, whatever, let us know and we will think about it. Any other thoughts?
If you didn't watch the show and you're for some reason watching our reaction of it without watching the show, you should probably watch it now.
Yeah. Or else you suck.
Just like everything.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching again. Like, subscribe, share. I'm Dan.
I'm Keith.
And until next time,
we hope you're doing okay.
Hooray!
Hooray.